Alright, guys, for a lot of people, Star Wars Battlefront 2 is just another mediocre shooter that doesn't really matter. It's one in a million, and to be honest, the only real selling point here is that it's a Star Wars game. Now, for me as a Star Wars fan, that's fine, because I like Star Wars. I want to feel like I'm playing Star Wars. There's no fucking Star Wars games. There's none. And there used to be this nice little, like, not a plethora, but there was some good Star Wars games. If you wanted to play Star Wars, you could play Star Wars. And I mean, Star Wars Battlefront as a franchise, I mean, you could, I basically refer to it as Star Wars Battlefront, Battlefront 2, and EA's Star Wars Battlefront, and EA's Star Wars Battlefront 2. Or you could even call them Star Wars Battlefront 15 and Star Wars Battlefront 17, because you it's super weird that there's two Star Wars Battlefronts and two Star Wars Battlefronts 2s. I really wish they could have found a different name. I understand why they went with Battlefront, because this is a shooter, and there was another major popular Star Wars shooter that also ripped off of Battlefield. And to EA's credit, Battlefront did borrow heavily from Battlefield, so I understand why the game is called Star Wars Battlefront, and I'm not mad at them for calling it that. It's just fucking annoying that there's so many. There's two twos. It's weird. Anyway, I played the beta. Whatever. It was fine. It was fun, but it wasn't like, I'm not gonna like drop Overwatch over it. I would still say, if I had to choose a shooter that wasn't Overwatch, I'd probably hit up Titanfall 2, honestly. Honestly, I'd probably play some like Halo 5 again. You know, I don't know if I would say this is like the best of the best. I'm knowingly going to play this because it's Star Wars, and because as a Star Wars fan, it looks like they're hitting all the right buttons. It looks like they're making Star Wars fans very happy with this one, and that's important. But what I'm basically trying to say is, whereas a game like Dragon Ball Fighter Z, people are excited because it excites the fans of Dragon Ball Z, and it also excites the fans of fighting games. People who don't watch Dragon Ball Z are interested in Dragon Ball Fighter Z because the game looks that good. That's what you would love to see with Star Wars Battlefront 2. That's not what you're going to see. What you're going to see is like a lesser version of Battlefield and Call of Duty, but with Star Wars stuff. Which is fine, I guess, if it's good, which it is sort of. Now, the thing about the series is that I'm gonna have to make a whole separate video on why the old Battlefront games are like the best Star Wars games, and why they are some of the best games on the PS2, Xbox, GameCube generation. Period. That will literally take a whole video, and I know exactly fucking why. But anyway, the last Star Wars Battlefront game, Battlefront 15, was a fucking joke. We all know it. There's no way to explain that game's lack of content on launch. It's it's been said the reason why it came out the way it did involved timing with Star Wars Episode 7 the movie. That's fine, but honestly, I would have rather waited a year until when Rogue One came out. Then you could have incorporated some content from Rogue One, which is based in the original trilogy's timeline anyway. That movie takes place like literally like a year before. Actually, I think it takes place during the same year as Episode 4. In fact, I'm pretty sure it ends like 15 minutes before Episode 4. So, yeah, I don't see why they couldn't. At least, okay, it's not very clear, the ending of Rogue One, but it seems like it's right before Episode 4, which is basically the original Star Wars movie that was created. And I would have way rather waited until after Episode 7 came out to get a better quality Star Wars game. So if EA is saying, well, we had to do it to get maximum sales, not really, because after I watched Episode 7, I played Disney Infinity of all fucking games, which is a dead meme now. It died before Rogue One could even come out. Disney Infinity is a game I got excited to play because I just wanted to play a game where I could play as Rey and Finn. Because I watched Episode 7, it was cool, I wanted to play as Rey and Finn. And I was like, here's a game where you can play as Rey and Finn together with another player. You go on an adventure and you basically play the events of Episode 7. That's all I wanted. That's all I wanted. Eventually, we got Lego Star Wars. That again was a great game, and that puts Disney Infinity to shame. But they're very different games. But either way, that game was great. And again, it's like I just want to play as these characters. I just want to play in this universe. And this is where Battlefront 2 starts to deliver. Battlefront 2 is not just the original trilogy. It's Episode 7, and it's the Clone Wars, which is something we were all kind of asking for, because it's like, yes, we all know no one likes the prequels, okay? We can admit that. But as a game, the prequels timeline and setting is fine. The reason why the prequels are bad are because of bad acting by some actors, not all, by bad directing, and by bad writing, okay? But the art and visuals are fine. I mean, some people might argue that CGI is kind of dated now. Yeah, that's true, and I would have much preferred practical effects, but what I'm basically trying to say is the visuals artistically are fine. And the scenery is fine, and some of the action set pieces are fine, and a lot of the games are considered to be better than the movies. And Battlefront is one of those things. It's one of those products. Battlefront 1 came out before Episode 3 did, and Battlefront 2 came out like the same year Episode 3 did, I'm pretty sure. And yeah, everyone loves those games because they're very heavily based around the Clone Wars. It's not like they gloss over the Clone Wars. Those games have a lot of Clone Wars content in them. Both of those games do. There's entire planets dedicated to nothing but the Clone Wars stuff. So people like that stuff. And here it is. It's back again. This is something I feel like it should have been in the first Battlefront. I can understand why they would cut it because no one likes the prequels, but it's like it kind of feels like they're just being lazy. I feel like there is no artistic directing excuse as to why they couldn't have done the prequels. It's in the game now, which also means we have access to the prequel heroes, which is why we have Darth Maul and Yoda in this game. Because we have Episode 7, we have access to Kylo Ren and Rey. They already announced that the first free DLC, and yes, the DLC will be free, which is another thing we'll talk about. Finn and what's her fucking name? Phasma. The character that didn't do anything in Episode 7, they'll be playable, which is good because the First Order needs more characters besides just Kylo Ren. So I'm fine with Phasma, and it looks like she's going to have a more active role in Episode 8. So hopefully, and I'm thinking the reason why they're going to be delayed as DLC is because Finn and Phasma might fight a lot differently from how they fought in Episode 7. Phasma didn't even really fight, she just held a gun, she didn't fire it. It looks like she has a new weapon in 8, and even Finn looks like he's fighting differently in 8. So we'll see something. We'll see how they play out. And that kind of excites me, to be honest. I really like that idea of a new updated version after Episode 8 comes out, if that's what they're going to do. But I'm pretty sure that seems to make a lot of sense. Why spoil stuff from the movie in the game before the movie's out? With free DLC, no one loses. And that's another big thing. They know that the first Star Wars Battlefront game was lacking in content. There were only 3 heroes for the good guys and 3 heroes for the bad guys, which is bullshit. The game doesn't let you play as Chewbacca. Fuck you. How do you fuck that up? You need to be able to play as Chewbacca, man. Like, oh my god. And I understand Princess Leia adds diversity. Leia should be playable too. There should just be 4 heroes, The problem is they wanted to have it equal to the Empire, and they couldn't think of a 4th hero to be on the Empire's team. And now if you pulled from like the Clone Wars or Star Wars Rebels, or you pulled from like I don't know, like the comics or something, and be like, here's a character who's considered canon but they weren't in the movies, yeah, do it. Who cares? Put them in the fucking game. Who cares? I don't care. Everyone would be fine with that because it's a game. And anyway, again, free DLC this time around. Also, the heroes were not the only problem. There was a lack of maps. And there was more maps added in with DLC, but you had to pay for them. The game cost $60. It had piss poor single player content in the form of like a horde mode type game type. I think, and it was like, yeah, you just fought like waves of enemies. I played it. I didn't play the full game. I never played the full game of Star Wars Battlefront. I played the beta, and they had like a little sample of that arcade mode in the beta, and I actually had a lot of fun. Fighting AI is fun. Man, oh man, do they not understand why Battlefront was good? I will get into that later. Anyway, so this time around, the DLC is free because the game was very lacking content the first time. This time, the game's packed with way more maps already from all three timelines, which is great because they all get to feel diverse now. We're gonna get returning battles from the original trilogy, and it's like, this is a great show of faith right here. But then it gets better, because not only is the arcade mode returning from the first game, but they're actually adding in a proper campaign. So you guys know all this. This is not new. Everyone knows this. Everyone knows these things. But I'm merely going over them to basically bullet point a list of reasons why Battlefront 2 is showing a lot of good faith compared to the first game, which was horseshit. Now, this is all fine. It really kind of won me over. A lot of people were won over thanks to this stuff, but I was going to pre-order the game, and I discovered something that kind of pissed me off. So, basically, when you pre-order the game, you get DLC skins for Kylo and Rey, and I don't think you'll be able to get them without pre-ordering, because the DLC is in the future is going to be free. That means these costumes, if they are released, will be free, but they'll be free when, or when will they be released? It looks, as of right now, like the only way to get these skins is going to be from pre-ordering the game. Or maybe sometimes there's day one editions with games where like you go to GameStop and you buy the game and it's been like 4 days, but they still have copies of the game from day one, so you still get like a pre-order bonus even though you didn't actually pre-order the game. You get all that day one edition shit. That happens all the time. I actually buy day one edition games. Like, I bought Nier Automata like a month after it came out on PS4, and GameStop still gave me the day one edition with all the DLC that you get from pre-ordering. So it's like, I'm sure people will get it, but not the people who come later, is what I'm saying. And definitely not on PC. When on PC you pre-order, that's what you get. There's no like leftover shit. Anyway, that's not a big problem to me. It is weird. It is like, how do you decide who gets that DLC? Like, are you going to release it later, or is that the only way to get it? If that's the only way to get it, that's very valuable to pre-order then. Which means people might not wait till the full game is out to see all of the content, and they're already just going to throw their money at the game because that's the only way to get the costumes. If you're a completionist, or if you just are excited for episode 8, or if you just really like Rey or Kylo Ren and you want like more to choose from because they're your favorite Star Wars characters, that's the only way to get them, as so far that you know. They're purposely not revealing when those things will be available, so you don't know the value of those DLC costumes. So if you want them, you're gonna want them because they're free for one, but you're gonna want them because otherwise you'll never have them, and so it's just gonna feel incomplete without them. That is kind of weird. It's not nothing to like start a big controversy over. What is one of the weirdest practices I've ever seen, that I've never seen done before, and correct me if I'm wrong here in the comments or something, but I've never seen a company do this, EA or anyone. If you pre-order the game, you get access to the beta early, and if you pre-order the special edition, you get access to the beta even earlier. I didn't give a fuck. I played the beta when it became an open beta. So this pre-order bonus already doesn't fucking apply. But if you pre-order the special edition, you get all you get for buying this deluxe edition on its own, because all the DLC is going to be free. They can't just throw in a season pass. All the DLC is going to be free. So what do? They start you off with booster packs essentially for the multiplayer, for the crate system, which is another controversy in itself. That's what I've been seeing people complain about. But in this Elite Edition, it specifically gives you good, like level, like gold tier level, awesome, amazing equipment for all four of the classes. So that way, no matter what you play, you will start off at an advantage to other players. Basically, incentivizing you to pay more money so that way you can feel like a badass quicker and own people who don't have as good of equipment as you. And it's just like a weird way to buy. It's literally pay to win. It's literally pay to win. I cannot believe they did this. Like, how do you? Oh my god, they put a pay to win into Battlefront 2. Now the crates are going to be microtransactions. You'll be unlocking crates is actually in the beta was very easy, like way easier than Overwatch, way easier than any game I've ever played. Halo 5, yeah, it was easier than all those games. So I don't see many people using microtransactions for the pay to win factor. Seems like very easy to skip. So I was like, I don't give a shit. There's no point in the deluxe edition. Why charge $20 more for a version of the game? There's no point. All the content's going to be free, and the costumes you get are only by pre-ordering. You can get the costumes by pre-ordering the regular edition. So why the fuck would I bother pre-ordering the Elite Edition? Well, I'll tell you why. Most games come out on Tuesdays. Battlefront 2 comes out on a Friday. Now, Nintendo games normally come out on Friday, but most games come out on Tuesday. So this is November 17th. I'm going to pull up my calendar just to verify. I'm scrolling down to November. Yes, the 17th is very much so on Friday. On GameStop's website, it says you'll be able to play the game 3 days early if you get the Elite Edition. 3 days before Friday is Tuesday. You know, when games normally come out, Tuesday. But if you get the regular game, you wait till Friday. They are, okay, days go by. Days pass. It doesn't matter, man. Like, it's not that big a deal that you have to wait 3 days and people who get the Elite Edition play it 3 days early. It's not that big a deal, because once those 3 days are over, it's 3 days of your miserable life, and then you're playing the game just like everyone else who bought the Elite Edition. So that $20 was fucking pissed away. It was pissed away. There's no value in that. So, but the problem is that it's the principle here. EA, this is my problem. This is the controversy with this fucking game that is driving me crazy. EA is holding the game hostage unless you spend 20 extra bucks. They're literally saying, the game you know how games always come out on Tuesdays? Well, guess what? You don't get it on Tuesday unless you got the special edition. I was pre-ordering the game. I was about to hit confirm when Origin suggested, hey, $20 more, you get the Elite Edition. So I looked into what the Elite Edition had, because I buy special editions all the time. I bought the special edition for Injustice 2, Tekken 7, and for Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. Because usually when you buy special editions, the season pass is included. And I'm like, well, I love these games. I want all the DLC imaginable. I highly regret Tekken 7. I mean, if you like the game, that's fine, but the base game is different from the DLC. I don't understand. I would have not bought the DLC if I really knew what it was, because it's garbage. I don't care about Tekken Bull. Fuck. I don't even know if I care about Geese yet. One character? Ugh, Jesus Christ. And then there's supposed to be a second character next year. Meanwhile, other fighting games are just rolling them the fuck out. But this is not a rant about Tekken. This is a rant about Star Wars Battlefront. I would gladly pay $20 more if the deluxe edition provided content that I deemed valuable. The content is pay to win and being able to play the game the day it should be coming out. EA is counting on you to not realize that every game ever comes out on Tuesdays. I know this because I buy a lot of games. New games come out on Tuesday. Unless it's Nintendo, then it comes out on Friday. The Switch came out on a Friday. Mario Kart came out on a Friday. Nintendo, all their games come out on Friday. Fire Emblem Fates came out on Friday. All their games come out on Friday. EA they don't release games on Friday. They release games on Tuesday like everyone else. They don't release games on Friday. Why Star Wars Battlefront 2 come out on Friday, and then if you pre-order a special edition, you get it on Tuesday? That is some fucking corporate shenanigans. That is some bullshit. That is trying to squeeze every last penny out from us. This is obnoxious when the rest of the game looks like it's showing such good faith. The rest of the game is like, hey, we know we fucked up with Battlefront 1. We'll make it up to you. This game has all the content that should have been in the game the first time. Now, and then also on top of that, free DLC. Just to really show that they're doing, they really mean it. But the special edition, who was in charge of the special edition features? It is the most bullshit, bogus special edition I've ever seen. I've never seen a special edition this vile, this consumer unfriendly. People are going to buy the special edition literally to get an advantage in the multiplayer. You guys, first of all, most of the perks you get from crates in multiplayer are worthless. Second of all, the whole point of playing multiplayer games that have progression is to progress step by step, unlocking content. If you're not actively leveling up and earning content, then you've already reached your goal, you have less reason to play the game. You will not feel satisfied. Well, some of you will feel satisfied raping everyone in sight without even trying. But the sad news is that even with perks and upgrades, you're only going to be slightly that much better. You might think you'll get a big advantage. You're not going to, unless things change dramatically from the beta. The fucking perks and shit you got from the crates are not that crazy good. They might change up your gameplay style a little bit, but they don't make you objectively better than other players. Even though that's kind of how they're being advertised, which is fucked up, because it's basically saying it's pay to win. How are people not going crazy over this Elite Edition? Is it because they just haven't looked into it yet? It's amazing. I've never seen something like this before. I pre-ordered the normal edition because out of principle, I'm like, no. You know what? No. I wanted to support this game. I will not support the Elite Edition. I will gladly wait 3 days. And when people are playing it, I will just tweet. Like, fuck you, basically. I will just tweet to remind people that they're cucks. And that's what you are if you get the Elite Edition. It should be called Star Wars Battlefront 2 Elite CUCK Edition. You are a cuck if you buy that game. Swear to God. Can someone please acquire the rights from Star Wars away from EA? I'm so sick of this shit. Could anyone else make a Star Wars game? Here's hoping that Respawn's third-person shooter adventure is a great game. Hopefully EA will just keep their money-grubbing hands out of it. Hopefully we won't see single-player microtransactions or some other bullshit. EA, you got something good. You got it through your money, okay? So I admit that some of your shady practices acquired you one of the most important franchises to have games for, because Star Wars video games have always been important. Don't ruin it. Just make games. People will buy them because they're Star Wars. You don't just make Star Wars games, man. Why do you have to try to hurt your fans? Like time and time again. Why are you hurting your fans? And not only just hurting Star Wars hurt your fans, but when you hurt Star Wars fans, it hurts Star Wars as a whole. You're just gonna piss off Disney. If it can be linked back to, which it probably won't, because Star Wars Battlefront is probably going to do well. It's probably going to sell well. I don't know, guys. I don't know. I'm really pissed off about this revelation that I'm sure it's been available for everyone and no one's just talking about it. This is ridiculous. Getting a game early for buying a special edition, that's fucked up. That's fucked up, especially when you realize that the game's coming out on a Friday instead of a Tuesday. That's bullshit. Oh my god, that's disgusting. Oh my. This one, the dark side of the force is strong with this one. I've got a bad feeling about this. There's your fucking quotes, you